Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're bringing you another tropical update from the Hurricane Watch Sheet. We have multiple areas of concern that we need to discuss, so without any further ado, let's get started. So first, I want to talk about Hurricane Estelle. Currently, Hurricane Estelle has really generally changed very little over the past several hours, but the hurricane is less organized than it was about 24 hours ago. The system continues to produce concentrated area of deep thunderstorm activity. However, a recent GMI microwave pass showed that northerly shear is causing a significant asymmetry in the storm structure. The center is located near the northern edge of the convection, and banding features are mostly confined to the south of the center. You can clearly see there's a lot of banding down here. If I click and zoom out a little bit, you can easily see there's a lot more banding, and the center circulation's more up here, pushing towards the western islands right here, right off the coast of Mexico. Now, the latest satellite imagery estimates range anywhere from 55 to 77 knots, and the initial intensity is held at 70 knots. It's about 80 miles per hour for this advisory. An ASCAT pass, or a scatometer pass from 05Z indicated that the 34 and 50 knot wind radii are larger than previously estimated, and the hurricane is expected to remain over warm water for another 24 to 36 hours. But north to northeasterly shear of about anywhere from 10 to 15 knots is expected to persist during that time period. Given the storm's current structure and continued shear, only a little strengthening seems possible during that time period beyond around 36 hours. Estelle will be tracking over waters cooler than 26 degrees centigrade, or about 79.5 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and into a drier, more stable air mass. These conditions should cause a steady weakening trend, and the system will likely become post-tropical in around 3 to 4 days. The National Hurricane Center intensity forecast is again lower than the previous one, and it lies at the high end of the guidance in the short term, but falls in line with the HCCA and the IBCN consensus model after about 36 hours. Currently, Estelle is moving a little north of the previous forecast with the latest initial motion, estimated to be at 305 degrees at about 11 knots. The models show a mid-level ridge building westward to the north of Estelle, which should cause the system to move generally west-northwestward over the next several days. The National Hurricane Center forecast is a little to the north of the previous one, mostly based on the initial motion in the current position. So now with what is Estelle is expected to continue producing rough surf and rip currents along the coast of southwestern and western Mexico, as well as the southern tip of the Baja California Peninsula during the next couple of days. No other impacts are expected. A majority of the heaviest rain is off the coast. As you can see, some of the more deeper thunderstorm activity is really right here, the closest of it, but there will be a decent amount of rip currents, which could pose a threat to life if you are vacationing along the western coast of Mexico or in southern Baja California Peninsula. And I think the biggest attraction down there for tourists would be Cabo San Lucas. It's a big tourist city, I believe. So that area would definitely, so Baja California Peninsula and the western coast of Mexico will see the biggest impacts from rip currents. And stay tuned for the Hurricane Watch Team for more updates on Hurricane Estelle as it continues to track to the north and to the northwest. I just want to say thank you for watching this video so far, and just letting you know, if this video has been useful to you so far, like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to click on that notification bell to get notified when a new video or live stream comes out. Thanks again. So I do want to talk a little bit about the severe weather. Now, before I get there, I just wanted to say, for right now, there are no tropical cyclones are expected during the next 5 days in the North Atlantic. And the reason for that is if I go to the satellite, it will be quite obvious that there is a lot of sinking air. There's a lot of dry air. Also, here is Estelle, high resolution satellite of Hurricane Estelle. As you can see, center circulation is roughly right here. Deep thunderstorm activity approaching these islands, really starting to get into those tropical storm force winds, and soon hurricane force winds, as the hurricane is expected to track really close to those islands. So I do want to take a look at the North Atlantic satellite imagery. Actually, I think long wave will be easier to see. So as you can clearly see, there is a lot of sinking air, there's a lot of dry air. There's actually very, very, very little in terms of the ITCZ, the Intertropical Convergence Zone. And with what we have down there, there's not a lot of activity. For the most part, the Gulf of Mexico is pretty much dead. There is no activity in the entire Gulf of Mexico. There's almost no activity in the North Atlantic. You can see an upper level low moving through portions of southeast Canada, frontal boundary, which we are watching. There will be some severe weather for the north central United States and south central Canada today. There is a moderate risk of severe weather for southern Canada, and a moderate risk for severe weather for the northern portions of the United States. So we're going to be closely watching that, with talking about it for sure, because there's going to be definitely a decent amount of severe weather to talk about today. So I'm going to move this right out of the way and get right into it. So for right now, this general area right here is considered the main development region. As you can see, there is dry air. There is lots of dry air. You can kind of see the frontal right here of the dry air mass pushing right through that part of the MDR. I do think that the conditions are going to become much more favorable over the next several weeks as we get into the end of July and early August. I do think the environmental conditions are going to become more favorable for the North Atlantic, unfortunately. And I think things are just going to ramp up extremely fast. It's just going to almost come out of nowhere. And that's something that I am a little bit concerned about. As you can see here in the Caribbean, there's not really a whole lot of activity in terms of tropical. There's some thunderstorms here in the Central American Gyre, the CAG. Like I was saying, here in the Gulf of Mexico, there is practically nothing going on here in the Gulf of Mexico. So that's what we have for that. I do want to talk quickly, really, really quickly, sea surface temperatures, and talk about what we have in terms of sea surface temperatures, because sea surface temperatures have fortunately actually cooled down a little bit here in the Gulf of Mexico, which is good, but still are extremely warm. So if I go to the Gulf of Mexico, you can still see in portions off the western coast of Florida, the water temperatures are extremely hot. The Bahamas, very hot. The western tip of Cuba, very, very warm. The north central Gulf of Mexico, still at about 30 degrees centigrade. That's about 87 to 88 degrees Fahrenheit. So with what we have in terms of sea surface temperatures, are not a problem. Dry air, wind shear is also a problem. So the reason there is actually cooler waters off the northern coast of the Yucatan Peninsula, you have high pressure over the southeast United States. You get air moving in like this, and so you're getting warm water being pushed away from the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula. And what's below that warm water? Cool water. And you get upwelling of cooler water to the surface. And so that's why you have this cooler water right here north of the Yucatan Peninsula. With all that being said, I'm going to go right into the Storm Prediction Center and see what we got here. We do have an enhanced risk of severe weather in the north central portion of the United States. And I do want to say that's what we have there. I do want to quickly go over what they're talking about. They're saying there is an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms from northeastern Montana to northern North Dakota. There is a slight risk of severe weather surrounding the northern plains, the enhanced area extending eastward in upper Michigan as well as portions of the northeast. The greatest, I didn't want to make this quick, because the greatest severe thunderstorm threat will be destructive. I want to point that out, what the Storm Prediction Center is saying. So I'm going to actually highlight some of this here to make it a little bit easier. There is severe gusts and hail today into this evening northeastern Montana to northern North Dakota. Now, what they're saying below all this is just an explanation about what's happening. Oops. This is just all of this is an explanation of what's happening. It's actually really complicated. Honestly, a little bit hard to explain. But in terms of what we have with the threats, the biggest threats are going to be destructive, severe gusts, and damaging hail today. Now, I do want to go to the ECCC, the Environment of Canada. The ESTOFEX. So I do want to talk a little bit about European weather here before I do close everything off. Alright, so this is what we got right here. The European Storm Forecast Experiment has issued a Level 1 issue for portions of western Russia for excessive convective precipitation and to the southeast, also for large hail and severe convective wind gusts. A Level 1 has been issued for the French Alps and for parts of the Italian Apennines, mainly for excessive convective precipitation, and to a lesser degree also for severe convective wind gusts and large hail. So Italy, portions of western Russia, and portions of southern France. Alright? And that's what we're looking at for there. As you can see, I do want to just mention the intense heat that England and portions of Europe have seen. 41 degrees is what is expected. I do believe the record in England is 38 degrees, and even that is extremely hot. So if you do live in England, Ireland, the United Kingdom, that area, please stay safe. Please stay indoors. I do believe there is an excessive heat warning issued by the government of England. So please stay safe. Please drink lots of water. Also, I do want to say the Environment of Canada has issued a high risk of severe weather in Saskatchewan, I can't say it, today. Today's main threats, there will be large hail, damaging winds, possible tornadoes. Yes, this is in Canada. Possible tornadoes and flash flooding. There's also enhanced risk from the northeastern Montana to northern Dakota for similar hazards. So I do want to go to the ECCC right quick. This is very, very long. Canada. This is actually quite a long video. It's like 13 minutes. What? No, not climate change. Environment of Canada. Okay, here's one we're due. Canada Storm Prediction Center. I'm just gonna search that. That's gonna be a lot easier. First, the ECCC Thunderstorm Outlook. Perfect. So it is a high risk. I know it's very, very hard to see, but it is a high risk. The highest threat is extreme. Right now, there's not an extreme threat. God. And they're currently just, saying I just want to talk a little bit about the biggest threats with what they're saying. Tornadoes, severe thunderstorms are possible, heavy rainfall, possible tornadoes are possible, heavy rain, flooding, severe thunderstorm gusts are also likely and also possible. I don't think British Columbia is seeing anything. Just wanna, yeah, it's definitely gonna be the prairies for sure. Even in portions of the northeastern portions of Canada there in Quebec area. Not Quebec, the Ontario area. But not a whole lot of any kind of weather or extreme kind of weather is expected for that area. It's mainly going to be the prairies for sure. Well, that's really all we have to talk about for you today. Don't forget that we have our own Discord server where you can chat with the team and the community. Link is in the description below. We have a Patreon page too. For only $1 a month, you can get exclusive benefits to keep the channel going. And if you don't want to or can't support us in that way, even as little as subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, clicking on that notification bell, sharing the videos, and commenting helps out a lot. Thanks for watching, and remember, we are the Hurricane Watching, your source for cyclone information. Peace out.